You're listening to Turi Writer's She Said What podcast. I'm Turi, along with Marcy Persky. In this installment, do you think you'd make a good witness in a court of law? One of us feels she would be excellent. And you've heard of people getting their driver's licenses revoked, but how about your actual car? Where do you walk when you do a long walk when you live basically on a vertical precipice?
Well, one thing, there's no cement, which makes it a little risky for me because everything rolls, if that makes sense.
Including you.
Yup. A for sale sign went up at the edge of our road. So I went looking for what could possibly be for sale out here, where we're basically the only residents for at least 2 miles. So I started walking down away from civilization.
Okay.
And somebody, probably whoever is selling whatever, redid the whole road. Like Rocky Ridge, Marcy Persky, twistiest, bumpiest, worst road probably in Coconino County.
Yeah.
Is nice and smooth and has brand new rocks.
Oh, because something's for sale.
Yeah. I still don't know who it is. And I personally would have preferred cinders over rocks because, as we've discussed, I
You fall down.
have the best coordination. Yeah, somebody fixed the whole road, but they're going to have to go through me to do anything because that first 150 feet
Is Marcy
belongs
Persky
to
Road.
me.
Yes, it
Yep.
does. Well,
Which means in any title company's eyes, that property is landlocked.
just the way your property used to be landlocked.
Exactly. I know all this stuff now.
So are you ready to commit extortion on whoever buys whatever is the are you toying with the idea of
Hell
extorting?
yes. There's no toy. The cannon is loaded.
Okay, so do you contact the realtor and go, "Hey, if you're going to
No.
sell..." No.
Nah, I'll wait till the person gets like 99% of the way through, and then their title company says, "Oh, by the way, section of the road that you need to turn on to get to your property is privately owned."
If they pay cash for it, do they need to do a title search?
Out here they do, because it is wilderness.
Uh-huh.
You also have to have that person come out and like mark all the property and put the little flags up and that kind of stuff.
Oh, do they get to keep the cows?
The cows have disappeared. We've had 2 days with no cows, including that giant bull.
Well, maybe your daughter has quit feeding them.
She's definitely quit feeding them because we hid the hay. We took it. The hay is hidden, and I'm not going to say where.
I wondered, it looked a little dusty in your studio today.
Yeah, there's no hay in my studio. I'd be sneezing right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so my exciting walk was I saw a squirrel and somebody fixed the road. So
In that order.
there you go.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
It
I'm
is-
having a dance party later.
I'm delighted to hear that you're comforted by these small occurrences. This is good. Let's see. I was interviewed. Here's the thing. When I get interviewed for a podcast or somebody's show, depending on what they ask me, sometimes I'm done with my segment and I'm angry because they've asked me about something that makes me angry. So they asked me about something that made me angry, like people not vetting their sources in news. And by the time they were done interviewing me, and by the way, we ran over time, and still I was not done. And then I was just angry. They were talking about trusting sources, and I talked about the people who send me stuff that's anti-vax, and that I always look to see where their sources are. And I was just in the middle of, if you bought a bottle of dishwashing liquid and it took all the skin off your hands every single time for every single person, they wouldn't be selling that bottle of dishwashing liquid in a day or two.
Or they'd sell it with gloves.
Oh, yes, accompanying gloves. That's good. That's very useful. Yes. So by the time I was done with this, my blood pressure was just up through my eyebrows. And so I realized that maybe I should ask people to only ask me about things that allow me to be calm.
I got to tell you that when I was a journalist and interviewing many, 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 many famous people from all different parts of the whatever, celebrities, politicians, I would get so pissed when someone's publicist would give me a list of questions that I couldn't ask.
Oh, yeah, no, I would never do that. I was just
Those
saying.
were always my first questions.
Of course.
Always.
Yes. Well, I mean, look, if someone's just experienced like a terrible personal loss, God forbid, like the death of a child or something, it would be legit for the publicist to say, would you mind not asking about that, please?
Right.
And I think most people would respect that.
Well, yeah, that's on a different level. I mean, like, don't ask this person about this relationship or this arrest or stuff that people already know about anyway,
Yeah.
but you're looking for like maybe a different twist on it.
Yes. Yeah.
And I am a great interviewer. I am a horrific interviewee. When someone says, "Oh, I want to interview you," my brain just closes right off. Boom.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I turn into one of those people that I hated, like Ozzy Osbourne. Yeah,
I heard
awful.
who makes the worst interviewees. I learned this by accident the other day. Somebody said that a certain interview subject was raised by parents who were trial lawyers, and so they taught her to say as little as possible about any question, so that you wouldn't get into trouble on the witness stand later.
Yeah, my worst ones were the ones like, well, like Ozzy. I
Uh,
couldn't understand a word he said,
yeah, I had
and
trouble with Meatloaf. I had trouble with him.
every time he said something, at least for the first 5 minutes, I'd say, "Could you repeat that, please, and enunciate?"
Well, the answer with Ozzy Osbourne is no, no, I can't.
No,
No,
no, if I can, no, I can't. So
nope,
yeah,
can't be done. Sorry.
or people who answer, "Yep, nope, maybe." Those are
Yes.
good ones too.
Yeah.
That's pretty much me though.
That's the trial lawyer syndrome. That's what I
Yeah.
would call that. I think I heard it on This American Life where they were talking about a woman who had brought sexual predation claim against a member of a state house legislature. And one of the parts of the interview after they talked about how the state handled her case with their new laws, and they totally
Mhm.
bungled it. But one of the things they asked her was, well, what's different now? And she said every decision she makes now, she thinks about how it would sound if she were on the witness stand. Isn't that amazing?
Understandable.
Yeah.
That's very understandable though. Once you go through something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. She said, if I'm at a party and I'm trying to decide whether to take the cab or public transit, I review in my mind, okay, I've had one drink over the course of 4 hours and I had a nice conversation and a couple of hors d'oeuvres and I think I can take transit. She said, and I don't even think about whether I'm safe or not. I just think about how it would sound if I had to testify to it in court.
And you know what? I do that a lot. And I,
Really?
I think because I watch too much court TV. I've been on this Judy Justice spree lately.
I've never been a
And
witness on the stand, but I watched one on TV.
TV, exactly. So Judge Judy has like a streaming show now,
Oh,
and it's called Judy Justice. And it's so awful. It is so awful. But you know me in train wrecks. I'll sit and stare at it for hours. But that has really made me think about a lot of stuff. Like before I do something, like will this hold up in court?
well, okay. I guess there are a lot of ways to get to that destination then.
Yep.
On the one hand,
Yeah,
you can be the victim of a heinous sex crime. On the other hand, you can simply watch court TV for a while.
that's right.
Oh, boy.
I have an impending dilemma,
Okay.
and you, my friend, are going to relate to this so hard. My Frankie said the other day, I think it's time we retire Juke Perry and replace
Ooh.
him with something else.
Ooh.
Yeah, and see the reasonable side of me says, yes, the car is turning into a piece of crap. We've just driven them out of it. It's all the paint is peeling off. I mean, it's just
Don't forget
it
the
has
hail. Don't forget the hail damage.
well the hail damage, and then it just eats oil. And so, yes, that my brain says I definitely should have something more reliable to drive.
Does
But
the
my
phrase good money after bad mean anything to you?
well, that's exactly exactly. But then I look out and it's Juke Perry with my fancy little steering wheel cover and my sock monkey car seat
Okay, let's
covers.
hold up
And
a minute. I would just like to point out that the steering wheel cover is portable, as is the sock monkey.
I know, but they'd be hand me downs. They wouldn't be fresh.
Duke Perry was a hand me down. You didn't buy it new.
No, he was almost new though.
Here's what I have to say about this. I live in a city, and if my car dies anywhere in the city, I simply pull over, get on public transit, and go away, or an
Right.
Uber or whatever. But here, two things. Number one, you live in places where to have your car die can actually be dangerous. And number two, the person who gets to put on the Superman cape and come flying to your rescue is Frankie. So,
Who's an hour away most
yeah,
times.
and you're going to hate this, but seeing as he's the Superman cape, I think he should get a vote. Normally, I'm against husbands getting a vote on anything. Just let me just stipulate. Normally, they get no vote. The only thing they get a vote on is whether they pee standing up. That's it. That's all. They get a
Well,
vote on that. But,
there's more to this story though.
oh, okay.
So since he said that, I've been looking at possible new vehicles.
Uh huh.
So far, everyone that I've sent him, you
Is,
remember the orange Jeep?
oh my God. Yes. My old Renegade Jeep with
Yep,
the
that you left for me when
CJ7.
you went to California.
That's right. I gave it
He
to
has,
you.
he has about 50 pictures of old Renegade Jeeps for sale. I said, oh, let's turn back the clock.
This is not a good idea either. I have to tell you.
Why not? They're good in snow.
I think you're
Yeah,
doing this backwards. I think you look at your husband with your beautiful eyes and you say, Frankie, my darling, my love, send me a list of what you feel would be suitable vehicles that meet these criteria. They have to be ugly as sin in a new sort of way.
hey,
They have to be good in snow.
there has to be a cool factor.
Yes, because ugly cool, right? They have to be either ugly
Yep.
cool. They have to
No
be,
mom cars.
yeah, ugly cool, good in snow and on Marcy Persky Road, and something that you feel you won't have to come flying to the rescue on a regular basis. Now, that's the most important thing because he will then have bought into flying to the rescue on a regular basis if anything goes wrong because he sent you that car.
I also sent him a bright purple Dodge Dart from 1971.
One of these things is not like the others.
My very first car was a 1971 Dodge Dart. It was light blue with black stripes.
Well,
And
while
if
you're
I
at it,
remember correctly, the whole engine block fell out a year after I bought it.
uh, you realize you're going to end up having to open up all those containers with your old college T-shirts if this keeps up. Because the only way to drive the purple Dodge Dart with an engine still in it is if you're wearing the clothes you wore in college.
If I'm wearing a shirt that says Coral Gables wet T-shirt night.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would want to see that.
I actually went to pay a condolence call last night, and one of the granddaughters of the person who had died, I was so in love with her for this. She's at the memorial gathering wearing a Def Leppard T-shirt.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yes, so I'm kind of passively car hunting. Very passively.
You realize that everybody who listens to this podcast is now going to start sending you links to old cars in Arizona.
Hey, you know what? I'll look as long as they're cool. Don't send me any hoopties. It could be something I can hook the dogs to if it does break down. I'll just have to travel with dogs all the time.
I don't think you can make your dogs all go in the same direction for even if you hung a stake
Even
and
for
a
a
pole in
second.
front of them. It would not work.
That's true.
Be better
That's-
off training those goats.
Yeah.
That's what you want. It's going to be interesting to see what you come up with. I'm going to write down on a piece of paper my guess of what you end up with.
Okay. Yeah.
And we'll
do that.
put it in an envelope. We'll see. Maybe I'll have 3 choices of what I think you might end up with.
I'll give you 3 choices.
Okay. All right. I'll write them down. Assuming you've come this far because you enjoy the podcast, may we recommend my book, She Said What? A Life on the Air. It's available at your neighborhood bookstore or on Amazon. And if you're feeling especially generous, please leave the podcast a good review. Thanks.